Hello, aspirants. Welcome to another session of the daily newspaper analysis. This video is brought to you by the Gurudev Academy. These are the topics that we are going to look at. Firstly, we are going to look at this that has come in the front page, that the three judges bench is going to review the Supreme Court's verdict that was passed on poll promises. Fine. So again, here the Supreme Court is reviewing the issue of your freebies, whether freebies should be provided or no. Since I don't know why Supreme Court is discussing this, because this comes under the domain of legislature. Ultimately, the legislature has to take a decision, but still, Supreme Court is looking into this issue. So daily we will be having this ball by ball commentary as to what is happening and what is the Supreme Court telling and all. But I advise you all to wait until the verdict has come out, and once the verdict is out, someone will write an editorial or someone will give a detailed report, and that is when you can revise this. For now, you just keep reading whatever the happenings are there, but again, the ball to ball commentary, what is happening, is not important for you all. So the Supreme Court here has come out and say that whatever the promises that have been printed in the manifesto of an election, during election, the previously what has happened is that the S. Subramaniam verdict, okay, one case, S. Subramaniam verdict, which was delivered by the two judges here. Okay, so the two judges what had said is that though these poll promises, they don't violate they don't violate section 123 of your Representation of People's Act. Under section 123 of Representation of People's Act, what is considered as those promises which those things which are considered corrupt practices during an election. Okay, so when it was examined by a court under your S. Subramaniam case here, whether the poll promises, the manifestos that has been provided, whether they provide for false promises and whether they are corrupt practices under your section 123 of your Representation of People's Act. So the verdict was that the court, the judges here said that they do not qualify as corrupt practices, but still they influence the voters in a way. So this verdict, the Supreme Court has decided to review it. So once the review is done, once the verdict is out, again, okay, same thing will keep happening. So wait till the complete judgment comes out on freebies. Fine. Then moving on, we are looking at this editorial again. This editorial is about Swami and the fading promise of a right. You have to understand that that August 24, okay, August 24 marks an important date in Indian history, because this was the date when the K.S. Puttaswamy case verdict came out. Under K.S. Puttaswamy verdict, what did the Supreme Court say is that the Supreme Court said that the right to privacy is intrinsic to your Article 21, that is the right to life and personal liberty, and Article 21 provides and guarantees a fundamental right to privacy. But it also said that, like your Article 19, Article 21 is not absolute. It has to be it comes under certain restrictions from the government here, right, from the legislature, sorry. So when we look at the context is that we are witnessing the 5 years of your K.S. Puttaswamy verdict. The author here says that although the 5 years have been passed of your right to privacy being included and mentioned by the Supreme Court as one of the fundamental rights, the ground reality is very different. He gives the example of how the company and the consumer operates right now. Most of the power when it comes to data is with the your company that is providing you with the goods, and not with the consumer. The consumer right now don't have any proper protection for their data. Online data is what is being mentioned in the start of the article. Then when we look at overall the article talks about things like the threat model. Okay, so what has been the threat model for the users, general users? The threat model is being conducted, the threat for our data is being conducted by two important actors here, that is your non-state actors as well as the state actors. State actors will do afterwards. First we are looking at your non-state actors. Non-state actors, firstly we are seeing a lot of data breaches. These data breaches have not reduced in frequency as well as in the impact. The data breaches and the data security breaches is harming the overall privacy of the consumer, is what the author is highlighting. Nextly, what is happening is that smaller bargain to collect personal information. Okay, the companies with smaller bargains, with smaller amount, they are able to collect and accumulate a lot of data of the general users. And what do the company do here? With all of the data that is provided to them online, they are able to design their products, they are able to design their advertisements, right? So these are the uses that have been taking place. but there is a harm as well. Why? Because the data that is available online, they are provided with the brokers, and the brokers here are providing the data at very cheaper cost. Okay, so because of this, anyone can access the data. Even the good people, the company can access the data to have a good advertisement model. The bad people as well can use this data to influence some of the cyber attacks, cyber breaches, like in the case of your phishing attack, okay, in the case of your financial scams that we see regularly happening in India. So these are some of the things that have happened, and these are the things that have not changed, even though we have the KS Swami verdict, which enforce the right to privacy as a fundamental right, and the government has failed to take necessary actions, is what the author is highlighting. Nextly, when we look at the state actors, the state here comes with a lot of power. The state has a lot of legislative power to monitor anyone's data, to collect anyone's data here. So recently we had these allegations of use of Pegasus spyware, which was confirmed by one of the New York Times report, which says that in 2017 the government has really bought this Pegasus spyware and has been using this Pegasus spyware to plant incriminate evidence in some of the user phones and get them arrested under some of the sections like a Sedition Act or some other acts. Fine. So here again, it is one of the apprehensions that has been made about the state's use of the privacy infringement of our privacy here. Nextly, when we look at the personal protection bill, okay, personal data protection bill that was to be passed this year, it has been taken back again. There was a lot of deliberation since the KS Swami verdict came out. It took around 5 years for us to reach a stage where we would be having a data protection act, where the government was proactively thinking about protecting our data. But again, the bill has been taken back. This again shows that the inactivity of the state here. Lastly, it talks about the VPN services. Recently, the government has came out and said that the VPN services that have been provided, which mainly are based internationally, these VPN companies, the government has asked these VPN companies to mandatorily have KYC, that is know your customer. Here the data that is provided is the name of the user, okay, the purpose of the user is also being questioned, okay. So this again infringes the right to privacy, as well as it does not allow us to have a freedom of security. Fine. So these are some of the things that have been highlighted by the author here. He has differentiated between the non-state actors as well as state actors, and how the promise of having a privacy, okay, right to privacy that was promised 5 years back by the Supreme Court through your case Swami verdict, it has not been fulfilled, is what the author is talking about. Okay. Nextly, we are looking at another editorial. It talks about your ASPA, where the author here, who is Inspector General of Police, okay, who was the Inspector General of Police, he highlights that AFPA has to go, the draconian law that needs to disappear. He says that the Northeast needs to be freed from the net of ASPA, as it has subsumed constitutional rights with impunity. Okay, what he's trying to say overall, what is the article trying to say is, the article has studied in detail the history of ASPA. It has also said what has been the effect of ASPA, as well as why it should be removed, as well as what has the government as well as the Supreme Court has done over this issue here. Firstly, we will look at what is ASPA as well as the history of ASPA. ASPA means that it is Armed Force Special Powers Act. Initially, this ASPA was brought by the British government in 1942, mainly to curb the Quit India movement. Okay, Quit India movement that was happening in Bengal as well as Assam. Okay. What is AFSPA when we look at it? AFSPA here, according to your 1958, okay, this 1958 was again adopted when there was tension in your Assam region. So this gives extraordinary power. It allows any commissioned officer, warrant as well as non-commissioned officer here that is equal to your equivalent rank, they can fire upon or use force against any person if there is in disturbed area, and whatever actions that have been took place, the inquiry cannot be done without the permission of central government here, as well as arrest can be done without a warrant. Okay, so these are some of the provisions that have been provided in AFSPA, and these violate some of the human rights as well as your constitutional rights here, is what the argument has been over the years. When we look at the history of AFSPA, AFSPA is what I first told you, it was introduced during the time of British, and later on in 1954, okay, firstly 1954, when there was insurgency in some of the Naga districts of Assam, government passed an AFSPA Act in 1958, and later on we have AFSPA in Manipur now. Okay, Manipur as well as in Tripura we had for some time, but the law has been lifted completely. Tripura for now does not have AFSPA. Then in 1990s as well, when we have this Ulfa insurgency militancy act that was carried out in Assam, at that time as well, AFSPA was reinforced in your Assam and Manipur region. Okay, and then for a brief period when we had tensions in Punjab and Punjab and Chandigarh, there as well AFSPA was imposed, but later on it was removed. As well as we have some of the cities that were covered under Jammu and Kashmir during the 1990s again, but this law was lifted from your disturbed regions in Jammu and Kashmir. And Arunachal Pradesh recently, okay, in 2015 when there was reports that again militant activities have been gaining prominence, Arunachal Pradesh came under AFSPA here. Fine. So overall, when we look at it, right now the Northeast, some of the states have the AFSPA provisions, and you have to understand what is AFSPA provisions here. Okay, when we look at the effects of AFSPA, the impact and the effects of AFSPA here has been that the victims of aberration committed by the armed forces. See, the armed forces, as I mentioned earlier, have a special power when it comes to AFSPA. Here, what is the special power is that whatever the acts that have been done by your armed forces here, the investigation cannot be done without the permission of the central government here. As well as there is a difference between the AFSPA that was there in 1942 as well as the AFSPA that is there in 1958. See, AFSPA of 1942 says that not below the rank of captain, okay, equivalent to the rank of the captain, only such person is allowed to commit and use force. Only that person can use the force or as well as arms in case of the disturbed areas. But here, even when the AFSPA was adopted in 1958 by the government, post-independent government, they said that even the non-commissioned officer, Lance Nayak, they also can use the force and arms, and whatever the actions that they conduct, okay, they cannot be questioned or they cannot be investigated until the Supreme Court gives the permission. So this has given rise to a lot of violence committed against the armed forces here. Violence committed against the normal citizens of these northeastern states. This AFSPA has not been liked by any of the citizens, okay, wherever this has been imposed, but still, okay, the AFSPA right now is being imposed. This shows that the democracy is flawed. The democracy talks about by the people, of the people, for the people, but here some of the laws like this have shown that the democracy is aberrated in India. Fine. Recently, we had one of the incident where the 21 para special forces, okay, in Nagaland in 2021, they killed 5 civilians here in the case of misidentification. Okay, they misidentified them as a militant, and later on violence broke, and we had one of the member of the army as well who was killed by the during this violence here. Fine. Martyred during this violence. Fine. So these are some of the things, these are some of the effects and the impact that the AFSPA has brought in, and that is why the author has been vocal and has been saying that AFSPA has to be removed and it is a draconian law. Moving ahead, when we look at the steps that have been taken here, see, when we look at the Supreme Court in one of the cases, that is your Extrajudicial Execution Victims Family Association Manipur, EEVFAM versus Union of India, 2012, when it was looking into a matter when the CBI investigated some of the fake encounters that were committed in Manipur. The Supreme Court found that that some of the encounters that were connected, they were fake encounters, and hence the Supreme Court came heavily down on the AFSPA and said to the government that AFSPA should be repealed here. The government, when we look at what are the steps taken by the legislature here, one of the important committee that was established was your BP Jeevan Reddy Commission. This was established and the report was submitted in 2004. Surprisingly, the committee was formed mainly to look into the provisions of the AFSPA. But what did it do? The committee recommended to change some of the laws in your UAPA, that is Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Okay, so instead of looking into the AFSPA, it recommended making changes in your UAPA. So again, whatever the recommendations were given, the recommendations were not accepted. The report was shelved. Again, the previous government that was there, the previous government was very serious in repealing this AFSPA, but there was strong opposition from the the then defense minister as well as the Indian army. Okay, so these have been the things that have been going on, but the recent government, the prime minister in April as well as the defense minister has come out and said that all the three wings of the army, all the three wings of your armed forces, they are ready to repeal AFSPA. So this is a very good news, and AFSPA should be repealed is what the author is saying. And at the last, when we look at which all states for now are under AFSPA, so we have Manipur here. Okay, Manipur has 6 districts that are under AFSPA. We have Nagaland, which have 3 districts here, as well as we have Assam. Okay, Assam, see, it is lifted from all the 23 districts that are there, but only 9 districts for now have AFSPA imposed on them. Fine. So AFSPA has been imposed on 3 states for now. That is MAN. You can remember it as MAN. That is Manipur, Assam, and Nagaland. Okay, that is how we can remember. Then moving on, here one more article that has come up relating to your defense news, that is Army speeds up procurement of light tank ZORA from LAC. When we look at this ZORA is a amphibious vehicle. Okay, it is an amphibious vehicle here. It is lightweight. Okay, as well as it is indigenously built. So what is the use is that this ZORA tank, it is going to be employed in your LAC, so that they are lightweight, they can function very easily, operate very easily in the hilly areas of LAC. Fine. So that is why this ZORA is being thought to procure. Okay. Then we have one more article which talks about a report published. The report name is Getting India to Net Zero. India has promised that it will have net zero carbon emissions by 2070. This was committed by our Prime Minister in the Glasgow meet. Okay, Glasgow meet of UNFCCC last year. So here the report says that what will be the use of India getting to net zero here. If India achieves net zero by 2070, the GDP, okay, the GDP will increase by 4.7% is what the report is saying. It also says that if India trying to achieve 2070 net zero, then it will create 15 million jobs by 2047, as well as it will improve trade balance. Why will the trade balance improve? It will improve because if India is going towards net zero, it does not need any fossil fuels, and as you all know, our trade balance is negative because we import a lot of fossil fuels. Fine. So these are the things highlighted. Some of the other things that have been highlighted is that India has to end the coal policy and it has to switch to renewable energy by 2040 is what the author is talking. As well as he has said that net zero emissions by 2070 would require an economic investment of $10.1 trillion is what the article highlights here. Fine. So you can use these facts to write in your essays, in your answers and all. This facts, when you write a facts and when you mention the report as well, you get good marks around. Okay. Then moving ahead, see, center picks 75 tribal districts for TB intervention project here. This project is being run under your Ashwasan campaign. Okay, Ashwasan campaign. What is the theme of the campaign? The theme of the campaign is TB free India for TB free tribes for a TB free India. And when we look at Ashwasan campaign, this Ashwasan campaign was launched in 2021. It has been launched by the Ministry of Tribal as well as Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It is working with some of the NGOs like USAID as well as your tribal health collaboratives and all. The main intention here is what? To make the tribal areas TB free. Fine. So here the 75 tribal districts that have been identified come under Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Assam, Gujarat, Telangana. Okay, so these are some of the districts that have been selected. When we look at the TB issue here, okay, India has a goal to end TB by 2025. Okay, it has a goal to end the TB by 2025. When we look at the total patients, there are around 2.2 patients right now. Okay, so India has been taking a lot of initiatives to eliminate TB. Some of the initiatives that have been taken here, like National Strategic Plan for TB Elimination 2017 to 2025. Then we have the Nikshay Poshana Yojana. So this Nikshay Poshana Yojana, it provides for DBT, that is direct benefit transfer of rupees 500 for every TB patient per month. Okay, then we have Nikshay Poshan Yojana, then we have TB Harega Desh Jeetega campaign. Okay, so these are some of the initiatives that the government has taken to eliminate and to eradicate TB completely from India by 2025. Okay, so these are the topics that I wanted to discuss with you all from today's newspaper. You can follow us on these social media handles. You can follow us on YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, as well as on Facebook. Thank you.